A UV layout is mine, and I think probably most everybody's most hated step of 3D work. But fortunately, actually 3D Studio makes it really easy. It really does. There's almost nothing easier to UV map in, and especially when we're working on something relatively simple like this, where we can get away with these UV, as I called them before, so-called projections, where we take a certain piece of this and we project it according to what its general shape is. So something like this, the sides of this, we would do what's called a planar projection, where we take the whole side of this thing and project it just in one direction. As if it were a plane on the side of this, and we do another one here, one for the top. There's also a thing called box, where if the thing looks as this does, generally like a box, you can do a projection where it projects in six ways, shaped like a box. You can do something like this cylindrically. This is generally a cylinder, so this would work pretty well to map cylindrically also here. So you could roughly, match up the what kind of shape the thing is, and then there's a UV projection that works okay for it. Now, something like this is a little bit more complex shape. You would have to take each sort of portion of this and map it one by one, do the UV layout for it one by one. And then when you get into more complex things like figures or monsters or whatever, something that's far more organic than that, you would there's a process you can go through called UV unwrap, which again makes it so much easier than it used to be. It used to take so long to UV something complex because there was just no good tools to do it. But now we have this technique called UV unwrapping. It's something we can talk about down the road in a later lesson. UVing something more complex. Right now we're going to stick with this. We'll get through the basics here. Stick with this and start putting some materials on here and textures. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take the biggest piece of this. So I'll take that. I'll go. I'm not going to ungroup it. Right now I've picked it as a group, so I have all these different pieces within it, and I don't want to put the same material on all of these things. So I'm just going to open it, and the little corners turn pink to show me that that is a group, which I can still pick by picking on the corners, but now I can pick the pieces of the group. So here I have the main shell of this trailer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Material Editor here, and I can grab one of these slots and put that material on there. So it turns gray, and I want to with my materials I want to try to name them appropriately. So what I'll do is take that shell and I'm going to map the diffuse. So I have my Material Editor here, diffuse slot. This little thing is a shortcut to map it. No map currently. Now with 3D Studio, there's tons of maps that you can use, right? There's tons of different map types. There's bitmap, which is going to be black here. It'll try to give you a preview of what it's going to look like. There's cellular, which is a fractal noise. There's checker. Okay. There's let's see what else. Composite, which will allow you to layer a couple textures. There's dent. Another noise type, and a bunch of different kinds of maps. These ones that aren't bitmaps, almost every one of the rest of these are what are called procedural. So splat and stucco and swirl and tons of really useful ones. Getting something really nice with these can be tricky. It can be done, and they're really useful. Tiles would be a great one to use, because then you can, if I map tiles to this thing and turned on the display in there. Now they have some actually interesting preset types of tiles here, so you can say, is it a running bond, is it a stack bond, you can do bricks and things like this, and you get a preview of it in here again. So however, whatever the ratio of the preceding row of bricks is to the next row, they have different names for them. So so you can use those to do bricks, and then if you map one of these one of the colors with one texture, you can have a grout, you can have a color. It works pretty well. But in order to use these effectively, you really do have to you really do have to layer them up really nicely. So it can be tricky. Right now, what I want to do is I'm going to start out with bitmaps because they're the most straightforward right now. It's going to give you the best result for right now. Here we go. I've mapped that to tiles. Now, if I want to get rid of tiles and map it with a bitmap, like I'm going to do, so I will take this. Take any one of these slots that say none, click drag and move it up here, and it will get rid of tiles.